Hello, everybody. Let me update the people on Flick, and then I will get going. That's going to be annoying. Okay, well, let's hope I don't need to charge that, because every time I plug the phone in, it opens up the Photos app, and I don't want that to happen, especially because I need to see this. So while I'm doing this, I am going to go through MLB and then give some thoughts on the NBA unless I get questions, and then I will do that because questions always come first. All right. And one more thing, and I am good to go. All right. And then you know what? I think I'm going to try to do this on Reddit too. Let's see. Now let me do that. Okay. Now that is on Reddit, and that is on Twitter, and that is on Flick, so I can get going. How's everyone doing today? It's been a really tough week and a half for me. If you guys haven't been following, I fell. Hey, Huff. Huff asked, favorite FanDuel single lineup pitcher. I'll get to that one quick second. I just want to explain. So I'm disabled, and I have a really bad disability with my back and my hip down my right leg. And I was walking to use the restroom late at night a couple of nights ago, and I didn't bring my cane, and I fell on my bad side, and it's been an absolute horrible, horrible struggle. So I've been trying real hard to get back in the swing, but it's been really tough. So I'm trying to get back on it today. I'm going to do a video, do my article, and then we'll get going. So now, Huff, I will get to your question. Let me open up the FanDuel slate. Thank you, Sports. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been like, I can't even begin to tell you how much pain I've been in. It's been like out of this world. I literally can't. This is the longest I've sat up at once today in like 5 days. It's been really horrible. But regardless, I'm going. You never stop. I didn't stop doing my research. I didn't stop reading. You can't stop, really. So looking at the FanDuel pricing, it's a lot different than DraftKings. So again, if you're looking at value, I think Joe Musgrove is underpriced. I think given how prone they are to strikeouts, Rich Hill is going to be underpriced on FanDuel. I am just really, really worried that Rich Hill, his ceiling is 85 pitches. So if he just has a couple innings that take longer than they should, he's out after 4 or 5 innings. So you don't really want to pay for that. I'm avoiding Leak. I think Miley's a decent, if you really want to spend up on bats, Miley is a normal splits guy. So he's a lefty that's much better against lefties. And this Texas Rangers lineup is going to be absolutely chock full of lefties. They haven't published the lineup for today, but I have 4 lefties in the lineup. Chu, Missouri, Gallo, and Odor, and he should be able to get through those guys pretty easily. The other guys might give him a bit of a problem, but I think that 7,100 for him on FanDuel is a really great price. And then I would say my favorite pitcher overall on the slate is Mike Soroka. I think that the kid is fantastic. He's proven himself. And I know Arizona's a tough team, but I am all in. on him, especially on DraftKings. He's the most expensive on FanDuel by 500, and I definitely understand that. But I really do like Soroka a lot. I think, excluding Price, Soroka is going to be my favorite pitcher on FanDuel. But again, I can understand if you want to take a cheaper pitcher so that you can fit in the Mariners. Are the Mariners? Yeah, the Mariners and the Yankees bats. It's a lot. There's a lot of good enough pitching today that's decent to good. That the amount of bats is lacking. This is a smaller slate where there's a preponderance of pitching options. So I don't want to play Arizona because I like Soroka. I think Minor's good enough that I'm not looking to stack Houston against him, even though they murder lefties. Corbin is good enough that I don't know if I want to take a Dodger stack. And even though he hasn't pitched like it, that's tough. Weaver just put up 30 DKP against Atlanta, and he's been pitching like an ace. Waka, I wouldn't mind taking Pittsburgh bats against Waka. Rich Hill, again, like I said, Washington strikes out all the time, so I don't really want to take them. Musgrove is underrated. I think that Cardinals bats are an option, but I think that they're going to be relatively chalky on both sides, and I think that Musgrove is underrated for what he can provide for you. So I would be more willing to take Musgrove than Cardinals bats, period. That's why I talked about him as a pitching option. J.A. Happ is terrible. He wasn't, but age has caught up to him, and it's not looking good. So Seattle is one, and then Mike Leake is the worst pitcher on the slate. So that's really like three teams that I really like. Who goes off tonight in DK NBA lineups? That's a great question. So I will switch over to basketball instead and talk about that. So I think that it's not going to be the craziest thing to say, but I think that Kawhi is going to have the best game tonight. I think that, they want to put this away and Kawhi is going to take over, and there's nothing that they really can do to stop him. If Embiid was at 100% health, I might tell you that, take a Jokic, who I like. I love, if you're pricing dude that I think is going to go off more than anybody else, give me Kawhi. Harris and Embiid is not going to be enough to stop him when Embiid is suffering with, I have a stomach issue. Excuse me. And when you have something that lasts as long as this does, and I've read about this in the past, this is something like a Crohn's type where it hits Embiid out of nowhere. It lasts up to a couple of weeks, and then it'll go away out of nowhere. There's nothing really that he's found that can treat it. There's nothing that can really ameliorate the effects of like the nausea and the stomach pain and everything else that comes with that. So I think that, unless Embiid comes out today, thank you, Edgar. I appreciate it. I think unless Embiid comes out today, the thing with gastroenteritis and stuff like this, you can wake up and be 100% out of nowhere. So it's certainly possible that, we'll hear after shoot around or when they're doing, the pregame warm-ups that Embiid is back to full health. And at which point I would not mind taking Embiid all in there. But as it stands now, assuming Embiid is still struggling, give me Kawhi tonight. If we're looking at bench players, this is where it gets interesting because I don't really like that many bench dudes tonight. I think that the safest of the bench guys are going to come from Portland, though. I think that if you are factoring everything in on this slate, you will have a great, and at that point, we'll see the backups get extra run. And we saw that, with Myers Leonard and Collins and Seth Curry. I would say that Curry is probably my favorite bench guy. I think that a couple games ago, they were using him off the bench exclusively. He got hot, and they wound up giving him a lot of minutes and a lot of shots. And if that winds up happening again today, then he's probably still going to get those 20 to 25 minutes. Additionally, if this game does blow out, which again, as good as Denver is, it certainly has a possibility he's going to get the backup and the blowout run. And I would say the same for Collins. I think that Collins has a good chance of getting additional run regardless if he plays well. So if we're talking about the cheap bench guy, I don't think it's crazy to do Myers Leonard. I think he was 2,600. Yeah, Myers Leonard's 2,600. I don't think that's crazy, but I think that Myers Leonard getting decent enough run is going to be more a function of the game blowing out, and you can't count on 2,600 is as good a bet as anybody under 3K for getting you 15 DKP. And if you're under 3K and you get 15 DKP, you're doing your job, as far as I'm concerned. Excuse me. All right. So those were the 2 questions I got so far. So barring any other questions, I will look at this main MLB slate, and then I will look at, we got 2 lineups that just came in. We got the Cardinals lineup and we got the Houston lineup. So let's see, because this is the whole point. The reason I want to do these videos on Thursdays when I have the time, I'm not watching my son. When I have the time to do these, I want to do them as late as possible so that I can talk about how analysis changes based on the way different lineups come out. So let's take a look. I'm going to look first at the Seattle New York Yankees game. I talked about it in terms of FanDuel. Game I want all of the hitters in. I think Hap and Week are bad. I think they can both get got real good. So my favorite play on the slate is Edwin Encarnacion. He is on fire lately, and he should be able to punish Hap, who's been giving up a ton of home runs. But really, the 2 through 7 in the Mariners lineup, Haniger, Encarnacion, Santana, Healy, Beckham, Vogelbach, I think are legitimate plays. Vogelbach is a little tougher because I don't know if he will be as good against Hap, given Hap's and Vogelbach's splits. But that being said, I think that a lefty in Yankee Stadium is an awesome thing, and I think Hap will be chased early enough that he'll have a chance to get a couple good at-bats against much worse relievers, assuming the Yankees aren't just going to bring out a lefty against him, which, given the sea of righties he is in, isn't a crazy thing. But I don't think Vogelbach is crazy in GPP, but I would focus on the other guys. And then you can honestly take anybody against Mike Leake, even Thero Estrada, who no one knows who that is. He's overpriced on DK, but very cheap on FanDuel, and I wouldn't mind at all getting a piece of him. On DK, he has dual eligibility, which is great, second base, outfield, so you can fit him in if you want, but I think that obviously, baseball strategy is to take people from the top of the lineup because they're going to get more chances at the plate. So on top of that, additionally, you put your best hitters at the top of the lineup. So with that confluence of stuff, give me the top of the lineup, especially Gary Sanchez, who would probably be my second favorite play on the slate, all things considering. So no more questions and no more questions. So let's move on to the next game, Pittsburgh and the Cardinals. I already wrote about Pittsburgh after their lineup came out. So what I wrote in my analysis stands true. I think that Waka, if you look at Waka, he finds his success against teams that chase a lot and strike out a lot. And he has a lot of trouble against teams that don't strike out a lot. And he's shown that this year as well as in past years. And this year, again, no different. He's been going against teams that strike out a lot. And this is a Pirates team that strikes out one of the least in baseball. The only team that he's gone against that strikes out less than the Pirates is the Dodgers, and he put up like a negative 5.6, if I remember correctly, against them. So I think that Waka is going to be really chalky given his price, and I think that it's a lot better to take the Pirates bats here because I think that again, Waka I think that they're not going to strike out, they're not going to chase, and people are going to be all over Wacha at that price. So not only does it make more sense to take the Pirates bats against Wacha, who could struggle against a team that profiles this way, but it's also a really great way to go against the field. I can check ownership right now on Roto Grinders. Right now, Roto Grinders has Wacha as the fourth most owned pitcher at 24%. So Roto Grinders says Wacha is going to be really chalky. So again, I think Pirates is the way to go here, without any doubt. And then the new Cardinals lineup, or the Cardinals lineup, has come out. Carpenter, Goldschmidt, DeYoung, Ozuna, Martinez, Molina, Fowler, Wong. Exactly what we would have expected and exactly what I projected for today. So let's change that to confirmed and we will move on. I think, like I said when I was talking about FanDuel, I think that the Cardinals are a good offense, but I think that Musgrove is underrated and underpriced on both sites. I think that he's proven himself that he's not going to be an ace pitcher at this point in his career, but he would profile as like a good number 2 or number 3 on most staffs, regardless of where you put him. I think that he has shown strikeout upside this season, and I think that while, again, the Cardinals are a good team, I think that they are going to be over-owned for the matchup against Musgrove, and I would rather take Musgrove against what I think is going to be chalk. So while I don't mind, like if you ever read my analysis, I have very specific things that I write about in the tiers. And when I have a pitcher in a GPP spot, that means that I would prefer to take the pitcher, but Cardinals today. If you are going to take them, start from the top down. The Cardinals are a top-heavy lineup. Fowler and Wong show that when they're hot, you can take them, but I am not going to go there today. I would take Carpenter, Goldschmidt, DeYoung, and Ozuna, though, if you want to do a mini stack, a 4 or 3 player stack. But again, I would rather take Musgrove here. Next up is the Rangers and the Astros. While I was talking about the basketballs, the Astros lineup also came out, so let's see if there's anything I need to change. Yes, there is. Springer, Altuve, Bregman, no Brantley today. So we have Correa 4, Gurriel, White, and then Chirinos as the 4 through 7. And then instead of Brantley, we have Reddick, who has been ice cold lately, batting 8th. So that is a boost to Mike Minor, if anything. I know that Brantley and Reddick are both lefties that do better against righties, but Reddick is much worse than Brantley across the board, especially given recent form. Brantley has been hitting very, very well lately, and Reddick has been cold as ice. So I know Houston has a 5-run total, and I think that is certainly viable. Vegas knows, what they're doing. They have really great algorithms, but I think that I would bet the under there if I was doing any sort of prop betting, because Mike Minor is the only pitcher I've seen this year that has 2 starts over 40 DKP. One was a complete game shutout, and one he struck out like 14 people. I don't think that that's going to happen with the Astros. They strike out almost less than anybody else. They are a fantastic team, but a crafty old lefty, and he's not old enough that he has lost his craftiness. And we see a lot of the crafty lefties really start to bloom and blossom when they get into the early to mid 30s, which is something I've noticed for years. The normal peak of a baseball player is 27, but for some reason that's later. I don't think it's crazy that Mike Minor is going to have, his best season of all time. That being said, I again wouldn't mind taking a few Astros bats. They are murder against lefties, especially Springer and Altuve. Even though Altuve has been pretty cold lately, Springer's been on fire. But again, I would rather stay away from this because I think, given the 5-run total, the Astros are going to be over-owned for what they should be. On this slate specifically. And then I talked again in the FanDuel section about Wade Miley. I think that Wade Miley is underpriced on both sites. And given his splits, I think that a lefty dominant Rangers lineup is going to suffer more against him than most other lineups would. There aren't many lefty dominant lineups as the Rangers, who don't have many bench options to account for going against a lefty starter. So I think that while I don't think Miley's going to burn any down tonight, I don't think he's going to get, he's going to go all Kerry Wood on anybody. I do think that Miley, if he were 9,000, I wouldn't want to play him, but 7,100 on DraftKings, I think you can sign me up as one of the better options to save cash today. Him and Musgrove are both way, way too cheap given their recent form. Let's see, no more questions, no more lineups to come out. So let's move on to the next game. We got Braves and Diamondbacks. I think that this is a game I don't want any bats. I think Soroka is the best pitcher on the slate tonight, or I think he is going to against the Diamondbacks. He's had everything going, his form, his strikeout upside, and as well as the Diamondbacks offense has done this season, I also think that they are punching above their weight, so to speak. I don't expect the Diamondbacks to continue to hit as well as they have, even at home in Coors South. I think that the humidor that they installed, if you look at the runs per game in that it has significantly gone down, so that it's no longer like the second best offensive park in baseball. It's just the middle of the field park. So again, the way Soroka's been pitching, give me Soroka all day. I think he's the best pitcher. Thank you very much. It actually is rubber duckies. It is bath curtains that I installed. You can see I have like hooks on my ceiling. I have hooks on the ceiling of my basement that I had my friend help me put up so that I can install rubber ducky bath curtains behind me, so that I can give the whole bathrobe thing. Anyway, also I think that Luke Weaver is underrated. Luke Weaver just put up 30 DKP against the Braves. He's someone that, so narratives are written really, really early, much earlier than they should be, especially when it comes to a 162-game baseball season. If you have someone like Luke Weaver, who's coming into the season as a prospect that couldn't live up to his hype, and then in the first couple of starts of the season, Luke Weaver does poorly, people already get locked into their brain, Luke Weaver's a bad pitcher. If he's good, then it's a fluke, and I don't want to play him. I think that is doing yourself a disservice. If you look at Luke Weaver's form against very good teams, he has been fantastic lately. While I don't think it's, let me rephrase that. While I think it's far too early to label him a new ace and to be someone who lived up to his potential, I absolutely think that this is someone who could be having his coming out party. The way he has looked with his command and the way his stuff has been moving, it is not a joke. To put up 30 plus DKP against a Braves team that doesn't strike out in Atlanta, which is a fantastic hitter's ballpark, is not a joke either. For him to go into Colorado and put up 30 DKP is not a joke. It is someone who is learning how to pitch within himself, who is getting the confidence that he needs. And I think that he's going to be one. If you look at Roto Grinders, and I write in my article before I ever look at ownership, because I have a good idea of who's going to be high owned and low owned, regardless of what their algorithms and their math say. I assumed that Weaver was going to be one of the lowest owned, regardless of the fact that he's far too cheap. He should be about 9,000 like Soroka. And he is by far one of the lowest owned guys. Mike Minor is 2% projected ownership, according to Roto Grinders, which is nuts. Not that I'm all about him. 9,400 is a lot, but Luke Weaver is the second lowest owned at 9%. And again, given the fact that he just put up 30 in Denver and 30 against these Braves in Atlanta, I think that the best GPP play you have today is going to be Luke Weaver. He has a chance to blow up, and Luke Weaver's going to do what Luke Weaver has done. Like I said, it's too early to say that he's 100% turned the corner. But if you have watched him pitch, and while numbers are important, if you have not watched him pitch, you are doing yourself a disservice by not watching these people play baseball. You are seeing someone who has pitching fantastically well and who's going far, far too underowned for the upside that he provides you. The final game, is it the final game? Yeah, the final game of the day is the Nats versus the Dodgers. This is one that is a lot trickier for much different reasons. So in terms of Patrick Corbin, he is an ace caliber pitcher. I don't think you're going to find anyone. Yeah, I mean, Weaver, Steve, I think that is a good idea. I think riding with Weaver, given his recent form, given what he just did to the Braves, I think is a really good GPP play. There's no reason he should be that low owned. It's absolutely ludicrous. If he was 9,500, I can understand him being 2%, 9% owned. But the fact that Luke Weaver is in the middle of the pack and he has as much upside as literally any other pitcher on the slate today is absolutely ludicrous. And the fact that the field doesn't realize that is great for anybody, the 6 people that are currently watching this video and however many hundred read the article that I put up. I really strongly believe in Weaver as a GPP play. If you're doing cash, I don't know about it. It's Weaver. GPP, I'm playing my lineup today, and Weaver is one of the first pitchers I put in there. So let's move on to that last game, Nats and Dodgers. Like I said, it's tricky. The Dodgers are the best offense in the National League, one of the best in baseball. They do not strike out despite having a TTO philosophy, which is absolutely ludicrous. And Corbin, although a very good pitcher, has been pitching like dog shit. So I think that Corbin is going to go over-owned for his recent form. And because of that, I think that it makes more sense to play Dodgers bats and avoid Corbin. This isn't something, again, given the lefty, how dominant a lefty Corbin is and how, like Texas, the Dodgers are a lefty-based lineup. I think that when you have Turner getting hot and you have Muncy getting hot as a extreme reverse splits lefty, it opens up more doors against a lefty than it normally would. So while I think a lot of people are going to be on Corbin, and while I don't believe really strongly in recommending like a full out Dodgers stack, I think that in a GPP, you could do a lot worse than getting Turner, Muncy, and even Freese and Martin in there. Again, I want to stress, Muncy is so much better against lefty pitchers. If you go and look at his splits, it is fantastic. If Barnes plays, right now, I have Martin playing, as does the other places that I look for projected lineups. So if Barnes plays, I would absolutely love Barnes as well. But as of right now, you could get Martin in there to complete like a mini stack. Or again, if Barnes is in, fantastic. I really like Barnes's matchup here against Corbin. Yeah, because of that. I agree, Steve, completely. But again, Muncy, I want to stress, people ignore splits in this game. People, and by this game, I mean DFS, baseball, people who give advice. People do not give enough credence to how important splits are. There's a reason that, people do good against certain types of pitchers. It's because they approach their at-bats a certain way. And when you have someone that has shown over a large sample size that they are locked into something, then you need to take that for what it's worth. You can look and see this guy is in good form. You can see, Luke Weaver is locked in and pitching with confidence, but looking at the advanced stats is always going to do you good. And I think that again, you're doing yourself a disservice if you are automatically assuming everyone has normal split. So just because Corbin's a lefty and just because you take a couple of bats against him doesn't mean that the righty bats are the best bats. While Turner is my favorite, Muncy is second. And if you are going to play Dodgers bats against Corbin and Muncy plays, I would absolutely lock him in there regardless. And moving on, my last guy is Rich Hill. I like Rich Hill a lot. I really like Rich Hill a lot. But I have a couple problems with Rich Hill. One, his pitch limit. Rich Hill is going to throw you 85 pitches today. He was on an 85 pitch limit his first game. He got pulled after 85. He was on an 85 pitch limit his second game. He got pulled after 85. First game he was doing great. Second game he was doing terrible. Doesn't matter. They're going to run him out there for 85. So he might get you 2 DKP. He may get you 25 DKP. The problem is the upside and the ceiling that other pitchers have, other pitchers that could throw a complete game shutout. Not that it's super likely, but it's at least a chance. That chance for Rich Hill is almost zero, unless he throws like a super Maddox and gets it on 80 pitches. I don't believe that's going to happen, given the fact that the Nats strike out more than any team in baseball, and strikeouts cost pitches. You know, it's not one pitch and a guy's grounding out. It's at least 3 pitches to strike a dude out. And that adds up, especially if you are trying to pitch around the zone to get people to chase, which is part of the way Rich Hill pitches with that dominant, sweeping, amazing curveball of his. But again, someone coming off the DL who's getting back on his feet, who's getting older, who has such a short leash, I just can't get behind. I love Rich Hill. I think that he's viable on FanDuel at that price, but I couldn't see taking him on DraftKings in any fashion. It's just too much money. I'm not a big fan of the Nats bats. I think that Robles, Rendon, Kendrick are decent one-offs, and if you want to do a mini stack, but again, you have to look at this holistically, which again, a lot of people ignore. People ignore splits and people ignore bullpens. Bullpens matter a lot. If you're on the road, you get 9 at-bats. That matters a lot. I would rather have a team guaranteed to get 9 at-bats over a team that only may get 8, all things being even. If a team's at home and they're way better, I'm going to take them over a team on the road. But if you have 2 teams tied, if that one team is 11 runs going into the 9th inning, they're going to bat again, and they have a chance to put up another 5-6 runs. That is points. That is points. Yeah, Hill is the most expensive, and he has the shortest leash on DraftKings. I cannot go under any circumstances. I just don't see it. Ooh, and we have the Texas lineup. Ooh, Guzman is back. Look at that. That is another lefty, unless that is a different Guzman. That is really bad. Oh, man. Yeah, that is the first baseman. Guzman is back. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lefties going against Wade Miley. Wade Miley is definitely the best low-priced pitcher on the slate. That is absolutely insane. He's not a reverse splits guy. He's a normal splits guy. Why are they putting 5 lefties in the lineup against him? That is absolutely stupid. Okay, well, good for you. And then Jeff Mathis is an easy out on top of that. So you have 5 lefties and Jeff Mathis. Again, I don't think Wade Miley is lighting any barns on fire, but at the same time, this is not a lineup designed to go against lefties. That is really ridiculous. Why would they play Guzman? Why not? Okay, whatever. I don't run these teams. It's not up to me. They can be as stupid as they want. So that is going to be it for the baseball. Let me do a quick look at the basketball slate. I looked at it really quickly before when someone asked me my favorite plays, or my favorite play, and then my favorite cheap plays. I think that what I'm going to do here is tell you how I think these games are going to play out and who the focus of these games is going to be. And I think that that'll help you because the story on a 2-game slate is as important as anything else. If you have players that work against one another, it's going to be incredibly harmful for you. So you want things to all work out as best as they can. So the Toronto-Philadelphia game, I think that unless we get word again that Embiid is back to full health, this is going to be a Jimmy Butler versus Kawhi Leonard game. I want both of them, period. They are both going to take this game over. They're both going to run it. I don't want Simmons. If Embiid plays, every minute Embiid plays is worse for Harris, and Embiid is going to keep trying to play. So I don't want to play Harris. I don't want Redick against the perimeter defense of Toronto. I've been saying that since the first game. I don't want Redick at all this series. I don't care how cheap he is. Don't give me Redick. Simmons isn't doing it because Butler's running everything. Harris is too dependent on Embiid missing to get the usage, and Embiid is dealing with a serious stomach problem. So again, give me Butler. I don't really want bench dudes. I just want Butler. On the Raptors, I think that Kawhi is the obvious. He's my favorite play on the slate. Give me Kawhi over anybody else. And I think he's just going to run this. They want to put this away. They want to take whatever extra rest they can, go home, kick their feet up, have a beer, whatever the hell they do when they get home. But they want to relax, and they got a chance to do it. I think that Kawhi is going to come out in his 60 to 70 DKP full force tonight. So give me no Lowry. I don't want Danny Green. That was a fluke. He's not going to shoot that many times. I think Siakam is a decent play. I think that he's back to the number 2 status. I think that 7,100 is a little much, but I also think that it's certainly feasible. He gets you another double-double and close to 50 points. So Siakam is going to be my second favorite play on the Raptors and my third favorite play in this game. And then I don't really think anyone else is close. I understand wanting to play Gasol, but I think that Gasol has proven that he has this. He's going to get you 25 points. He doesn't really have a ceiling. His floor is fine. If you're playing cash on a 2-game slate, I love Gasol, but I'm looking for someone who has the chance of giving you 7 or 8 times their salary. While we're not going to get that for everybody unless we win, which, hopefully one of us does, knock on wood, or whatever the hell this fake wood is. I don't think Gasol is a good enough GPP play, given the fact that he is consistent, but he's consistently 5 times. And that's just not going to be enough to win for the most part, when you can go up and get someone like a Millsap for 1,000 more, who's going to get you 40 to 50 DKP. So that is a pretty quick game for Toronto, Philadelphia. And then we're looking at Denver and Portland. I think, like I said before, that while I'm not counting on this game blowing out, I don't think this game is going to blow out, especially in Portland. Definitely, Andrew L. asked, oh, oopsie, I have to move this over. I clicked the wrong window. No, stop that. There we go. Andrew L. asked, thoughts on value for NBA, Zach Collins or James Ennis? I don't want James Ennis at all. I think that with Scott back and with how important this game is, they are not going to have any problem letting Butler run out there 40 minutes, letting Harris run out there 35 to 40 minutes. I think that the backups on Philly are going to get less minutes than they normally would and be asked to do less than they normally would. Whereas I think that Collins is going to certainly get a bunch of backup minutes. He can play backup 4 or 5. They really like using him, and this game has the best chance of any 2 blowouts. So again, like I said, while I'm not counting on a blowout, when you factor everything in together, even that small percentage increase in the chance that Collins gets to 20, 25 minutes is enough that at 3,100, I would much rather take him. I also think, Andrew L., that you shouldn't ignore Seth Curry. I think that he is very much scoring dependent, but I also think that they have shown they're willing to run 3 guards out there. And if Curry gets hot, he can get you 20 minutes and 20 something DKP at 3,000. So I think that Curry and Collins are far and away my 2 favorite cheap options today. I think that if you're looking to get a few of the more expensive guys in the same lineup, those are going to be the 2 guys that I would focus on, because I think that those are the 2 guys that are going to get the most minutes and have the best chance to get extra minutes on top of the minutes that they're already going to get. So give me those two guys. Other than that, I think this is a game where the Denver starters have proved themselves and they have not been priced up enough. So give me Murray, Jokic, and Millsap. I love all of them. I think Murray and Millsap have 50-point upside, and Jokic could get you 70 today, all in the same game. I think that while Harris and Barton are fine, like fourth and fifth pieces, this game is running through Murray, Jokic, and Millsap as the other games have. And I think that if you are building lineups, I would much rather have that as a core than like a Lowry Siakam or like a Simmons Harris as, the backup middle priced, whatever guys you want to call them. I think that those are guys with much better floors and higher ceilings than any of the other guys here. So I would much rather take those again in what I think is going to be a really, really close game in Portland. I also love Lillard much more than anybody else on Portland. This is the kind of game where Lillard is going to go into Lillard overdrive mode. There are some players in the NBA that get a reputation as fourth quarter players because when the game is down to the line, when it matters the most, these are the dudes that take the ball in their hands and step up. And we see that with people like Lou Williams, and we see that a lot with Dame Lillard. When it is game time, Lillard runs everything. And this is literally as important. Excuse me. This is literally as important as it's going to get. Oh no, I'm so sorry. That actually was audible. Oh, I really should start doing water instead of that on these. Sorry, folks. I don't know why I don't get any questions on Flick. If maybe people are just asking me questions here. But regardless, I want Lillard. I will take some McCollum because McCollum has proven himself to be a nice second option, but I don't really want a lot of the other dudes here in terms of like heavy production. I like Aminu. I think that if they play a full game, if this game is close, Aminu's going to have near 30 DKP. I think Harkless is a fool's errand. I think Cantor is injured. Yeah, I'm just getting to that. I think that Cantor has shown that injury, his shoulder injury, is really hurting him. I think that not only is it hurting him, but they know that I don't mean hurting him physically. It might be hurting him physically. I mean hurting him in terms of a production standpoint. They are cognizant of the fact that he is in pain. And on top of the fact that they are cognizant of the fact that he is in pain, they are running him out there, but not asking him to do much, but try to make it tougher for Jokic and Millsap and Plumlee when he's out there. We've seen, let me look up exactly the points and the shots and everything that he's gotten because I looked it up before. Yeah, he got injured a few games ago and he put up 45.75 in the 2 games since. He got 29 minutes, put up 5 shots, 17.5 DKP. In the next game, he put up 9 shots, still only got 2 and 21 DKP, only 8 rebounds. I think that they need Cantor, but he's not in good enough health to provide what he needs to. So if Cantor were priced to the 4,500 range, even if Cantor were 5,000, I would be more prone to take a risk. But Cantor at 5,700, you need damn near 30 points for him to get value. Just to get value, you need 40, 45 for him to exceed enough value that I want him to win a tournament for me. So I just can't go Cantor today. I don't think that the math works out. I don't think that they're going to use him as much because of the injury, and that showed the last couple games. Even when they tried to use him in an advantageous situation, like he was open and he had run, he just couldn't shoot. It's not. I'm laughing because it's ridiculous, but it's not a joke. I feel bad for the dude, to get injured like that in the playoffs when it matters so much. After Nurkic got injured and they were going to lean on him, it just sucks because the Blazers could have given them a lot more run for their money if Cantor was operating at 100% health. I know he is the worst defensive center in the game if you look at DRPM, but again, regardless, he's just too expensive and he just can't do as much. So give me Lillard, give me some CJ, give me some of those cheap guys from Portland. Give me Aminu as if you want a lower to mid-range guy. Jokic is, I still think Kawhi is the best play on the slate, period. But I think that it's certainly possible on whatever site you use to get Kawhi, Butler, and Jokic in there. If I don't know if it's 100% feasible. I have baseball open. You know what? Let me open up. I have like 15 minutes. I would like to do these videos for like an hour, give or take. So I have 15 minutes left, give or take. So what I'm going to do, I do this from time to time when I've got time left. I am going to build a FanDuel lineup right now, even though I don't normally play FanDuel. Let's see if you lock those dudes in, what you are left with. So we got Butler at shooting guard. Come on. And we got Kawhi. Oh man. 47.50. And I assume that much in the regular season, you get to drop the low score, right? So let's take a look here. The first thing I want to find is the 3,500 player that has some upside or enough upside that I wouldn't mind playing them. Right now, I've seen one dude. Monte Morris is a decent chance because if this game blows out, he's going to get the run, but I don't like him that much. And then Seth Curry at 39 is interesting. Let me see. He should be power forward. Where is he? Collins is 44. That's not bad either. Okay, so let me do this. So let's first put Curry 3,900. I'm going to do 2 punts here. Because I think one is going to get dropped and we're just going to hope to get lucky with the other one because I want to fit in some more expensive dudes. So let's see. If we put Myers Leonard and Seth Curry in there, we have a point guard, a shooting guard, a small forward, and a power forward left, and 5,200 that we can spend per those slots. So let's see if there's anybody in the 4,000 range that is interesting at any of these positions. Not point guard, not shooting guard. Rodney Hood at 4,400 is certainly interesting. He has proven to be very consistent. Given the other options at small forward that I do not like, I'm going to put Rodney Hood in there. That gives us 3 spots, 5,500. That's not bad at all. Let's look at power forward. Zach Collins, again, Zach Collins at 44. I didn't talk about Ibaka. I think it's important to talk about Ibaka. I think that Ibaka will be used less as Siakam is used more. And the fact that Siakam is now healthy, he's not doubtful anymore, like he was a few games ago. I think that with Siakam now healthy, he is going to be much less used than he would have been. So I think that Ibaka is going to be grossly overowned on both sites given his price, but I think that we can expect what he did at the beginning of the series, which is in the teens in fantasy points. So I'm not going to go there. So let me lock in. Let me put Zach Collins in and see what I got left. So if I put Zach Collins in, I have 6,150 for 2 spots. That is not going to be good enough. Yeah. I'm going to have to either go down somewhere Let's see, because that Gary Harris is 58. If I go under Gary Harris, it's Danny Green, yuck. Or Malik Beasley, yuck. Malik Beasley isn't doing enough. Danny Green, if you do Danny Green, you can do Ben Simmons, and I don't like that either. Ugh. Yeah, this is tough. Putting together a cohesive FanDuel lineup full of people that I don't mind, if you put Butler, Kawhi, and Jokic in, is tough. So let's look at it from a position scarcity perspective. I think that given Embiid and Cantor, Jokic is far and away. Craig, how much is Craig? Oh, 38. Thank you. Craig is not a bad choice at shooting guard. Yeah, he's been getting that run. Okay, so let's go down to Craig. Does that give me enough for Jamal Murray? Oh, sports fan. Good eyes. Thank you. So that gives me Seth Curry and Jamal Murray at point guard, Jimmy Butler, Torrey Craig at shooting guard, Kawhi Leonard and Rodney Hood at small forward. You're punting power forward with Myers Leonard and Zach Collins, and Jokic at center. I don't mind that lineup at all. That is as stars and scrubs as it's going to get when you're talking about the playoffs. A lot of people are going to try to be a lot more towards the middle, but again, I want to talk about that. You know, we got Millsap in the middle, give or take. He's a little more expensive. We have Siakam, give or take, in the middle, but you have Harris, who I really don't want. Simmons, Lowry, Cantor. Harris is hit or miss. Gasol. All those people in the middle aren't going to potentially give you as much value as the higher end guys. They're certainly not going to give you as much ceiling as the higher end guys. So what I would do is buck the field and go stars and scrubs here. So if I am going to play that one lineup on FanDuel, that is going to be it. Does anybody have any other questions? And I'm not going to play that lineup, by the way, because I'm not playing on FanDuel. You know, if I do, I'll play. Like if they have a quarter open, do they have a quarter open? I'll put that in because I built it, right? But they do have a quarter, so I'll play that for a quarter. But that's it. Not bad. We'll see how that works. All right, let's get it, sports fan. Does anyone else have any other questions? So I will end with this. You know, the last time I tried to sit up and write and do all of this other stuff, I was literally not able to move for a couple days. I think that was like on Saturday. I tried to do a few articles and the video, and I seriously, I couldn't move. Like I had to be helped up. It's embarrassing. I know that it's not my fault being disabled. You know, I didn't ask for it, but it still sucks. So I'm hoping that today is not like that, and that, you know, a week and a half away from having fallen is enough that my body has recuperated back to the normal, which for me is constant horrible pain and disability anyway. But I've learned to live by medicating through that pain, and this pain, literally, I couldn't even sit up. So assuming I am back for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll go back to members video. But I should have everything up. You know, the projections are going to be up no matter what, because Kyle runs those. And then every Thursday, I'm going to do a video this late, because I want to be able to, like I said, talk about the lineups as they come out and how it changes how I think about everything. So that being said, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. I love all of you. I really do. Thank you for all the love and the support. It really means the world to me. Have a beautiful day. Let's win some GPPs tonight, folks. Let's win it.